Harry realized his mouth was open and closed it quickly. "Where was I?" said Hagrid, but at that moment Uncle Vernon, still ashen-faced, but looking very angry, moved into the firelight. "He's not going," he said. Hagrid grunted. "I'd like to see a great muggle like you stop him," he said. "A what?" said Harry, interested. "A muggle," said Hagrid. "That's what we call non-magic folk like them, and it's your bad luck you grew up in a family of the biggest muggles I ever laid eyes on. We swore when we took him in we'd put a stop to that rubbish," said Uncle Vernon. "We swore we'd stamp it out of him. Wizard indeed." "You knew?" said Harry. "You knew I'm a wizard?" "Knew?" chimed Aunt Petunia suddenly. "Knew? Of course we knew. How could you not be? My dratted sister being what she was. Oh, but she got to London just like that and disappeared off to that school, and came home every vacation with her pockets full of frog spawn, turning teacups into rats. I was the only one who saw her for what she was, a freak. But for my mother and father, oh no, it was Lily this and Lily that. They were proud of having a witch in the family." She stopped to draw a deep breath and then went ranting on. It seemed as she had been wanting to say all this for years. "Then she met that Potter at school, and they left and got married and had you. And of course I knew you'd be just the same, just as strange, just as abnormal. And then, if you please, she went and got herself blown up, and we got landed with you." Harry had gone very white. As soon as he found his voice, he said, "Blown up? You told me they died in a car crash." "Car crash?" roared Hagrid, jumping up so angrily that the Dursleys scuttled back into their corner. "How could a car crash kill Lily and James Potter? It's an outrage, a scandal. Harry Potter not knowing his own history when every kid in our world knows his name." "But why? What happened?" Harry asked urgently. The anger faded from Hagrid's face. He looked suddenly anxious. "Never expected this," he said in a low, worried voice. "I had no idea when Dumbledore told me there might be trouble getting hold of you, how much you didn't know. Harry, I don't know if I'm the right person to tell you, but someone's gotta... You can't go off to Hogwarts not knowing." She shot a dirty look at the Dursleys. "Well, it's best to know as much as I can tell you. Mind, I can't tell you everything. It's a great mystery, parts of it." He sat down, staring into the fire for a few seconds, and then said, "It begins, I suppose, with a person called... But it's incredible that you don't know his name. Everyone in our world knows." "Who?" "Well, I don't like saying the name if I can help it. No one does." "Why not?" "Gulpin' gargoyles, Harry. People are still scared. Blimey, this is difficult. See, there was this wizard who went... bad. As bad as you could go. Worse. Worse than worse. His name was..." Hagrid gulped, but no words came out. "Could you write it down?" Harry suggested. "Nah, can't spell it." "All right, Voldemort." Hagrid shuddered. "Don't make me say it again. Anyway, this wizard, about 20 years ago, started looking for followers. Got them, too. Some were afraid. Some just wanted a bit of his power, because he was getting himself power, all right. Dark days, Harry. Didn't know who to trust. Didn't dare get friendly with strange wizards or witches. Terrible things happened. He was taken over. Of course, some stood up to him. And he killed him. Horribly. One of the only safe places left was Hogwarts. Reckon Dumbledore was the only one you know who was afraid of. Didn't dare try taking the school. Not just then, anyway. Now your mum and dad was good a witch and wizard as I ever knew. Head boy and girl at Hogwarts in their day. Suppose the mystery is why you know who never tried to get him on his side before. Probably knew they were too close to Dumbledore to want anything to do with the dark side. Maybe he thought he could persuade him. Maybe he just wanted him out of the way. All anyone knows, he turned up in the village where you were all living, on Halloween, 10 years ago. You were just a year old. He came to your house and... Hagrid suddenly pulled out a dirty spotted handkerchief and blew his nose with a sound like a foghorn. "Sorry," he said, "but it's that sad. Knew your mom and dad, and nicer people you couldn't find. Anyway, you know who killed him. And then, and this is the real mystery of the thing, he tried to kill you too. Wanted to make a clean job of it, I suppose. Or maybe he just liked killing by then. But he couldn't do it. Never wondered how you got that mark on your forehead? That was no ordinary cut. That's what you get when a powerful, evil curse touches you. Took care of your mum and dad, and your house, even. But it didn't work on you, and that's why you're famous, Harry. No one ever lived after he decided to kill him. No one except you. And he killed some of the best witches and wizards of the age. The McKinnons, the Bones, the Pruitts, and you was only a baby, and you lived." Something very painful was going on in Harry's mind. As Hagrid's story came to a close, he saw again the blinding flash of green light, more clearly than he had ever remembered it before. And he remembered something else. For the first time in his life, a high, cold, cruel laugh. Hagrid was watching him sadly. Took you from the ruin house myself, on Dumbledore's orders. Brought you to this lot. Load of old tosh, said Uncle Vernon. Harry jumped. He'd almost forgotten the Dursleys were there. Uncle Vernon certainly seemed to have gotten back his courage. He was glaring at Hagrid and his fists were clenched. Now you listen here, boy, he said. I accept there's something strange about you. Probably nothing good beating won't have cured. And as for all this about your parents, well, they were weirdos, no denying it, and the world's better off without them, in my opinion. As for all they got, getting mixed up with these wizarding types, just what I expected. Always knew they'd come to a sticky end. But at that moment, Hagrid leapt from the sofa and drew a battered pink umbrella from inside his coat. Pointing this at Uncle Vernon like a sword, he said, I'm warning you, Dursley. I'm warning you. One more word. In danger of being speared on the end of an umbrella by a bearded giant, Uncle Vernon's courage failed again. He flattened himself against the wall and fell silent. That's better, said Hagrid, breathing heavily and sitting back on the sofa, which this time sagged right down to the floor. Harry, meanwhile, still had questions to ask, hundreds of them. But what happened to sorry, I mean you know who. Good question, Harry. Disappeared. Vanished. Same night he tried to kill you. Makes you even more famous. That's the biggest mystery, see? He was getting more and more powerful. Why'd he go? Some say he died. Codswallop, in my opinion. Dunno if he had enough human left in him to die. Some say he's still out there, biding his time. But I don't believe it. People who was on his side came back to ours. Some of them came out of trances. Don't reckon they could have done if he was coming back. Most of them I'm sorry, I killed the tension a little bit. Most of us reckon he's still out there somewhere, but lost his powers. Too weak to carry on. Because something about you finished him, Harry. There's something going on that night he hadn't counted on. I don't know what it was. No one does. But something about you stumped him all right. Hagrid looked at Harry with warmth and respect blazing in his eyes, but Harry, instead of feeling pleased and proud, felt quite sure there had been a horrible mistake. A wizard? Him? How could he possibly be? He had spent his life being clouded by Dudley and bullied by an opportune Uncle Vernon. If he really was a wizard, why hadn't they been turned into warty toads every time they tried to lock him in the cupboard? If he'd once defeated the greatest sorcerer in the world, how come Dudley had always been able to kick him around like a football? And by football, they mean soccer ball. You know. It's the UK. Actually, pretty much everyone in the world calls it football. Except America. Screw America for wanting to be different and special all the time.